Beautiful soul, pause for a moment. Feel the presence of God, universe, source, your angels, and spirit team wrapping you with love. God knows exactly who you are and has many purposes for you. How do you know which way to go in life? You listen to the positive, loving whispers coming from your heart. That's your intuition. And your intuition is the way your spirit team talks to you and guides you. It's a compass that has every answer you'll ever need. When you follow your heart, you're always on your path. So be confident. Love all of who you are because you're perfect. Follow your joy and let God show you how you can make this world better. To help you do that, here's today's episode. If you'd like to support this podcast, please tag @Angel Podcast and share this episode on your socials. Leave a 5-star positive review, and if it calls to you, work with me at theangelmedium.com. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Intuitive Kids podcast. I'm your host and author, Julie Jancius. And friends, I have to tell you, I'm so excited about today's episode because my family and I, during the beginning of COVID with our little girl, we watched Cake Wars, like all of the seasons of Cake Wars. And we were just fascinated by people who can make these huge cakes. And another one of my passions in life is just getting to understand what drives people to follow their own creativity and their joys in life. And today's episode combines both of these things. So I was at a neighborhood party and I heard a mom talking about this cool kid within our neighborhood who's a freshman in high school, Maddy Westcomb, who makes these amazing cakes like you see on Cake Wars. She makes cakes for weddings and birthdays, and she's only a freshman in high school, which means, if she can do it, you can do it too. Maddy is here today, and she's here to talk to us about her joy, her inspiration, and how she turned this into a business at what, are you 14, Maddy?
I just turned 15 2 days ago.
Oh, happy belated birthday. And I should tell people while you're listening to the show, you should go over to Instagram and follow her at Maddy's.cakesandbakes. And you can see her different creations there, but it's MADDYS.cakesandbakes, all one word. And we'll put that in the show notes. But Maddy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So I'm so excited to explore this with you. How long have you loved baking, and how did you know that you loved baking?
Well, I also loved watching all the baking shows as a kid. The Kids Baking Championship, the regular just like seasonal baking championships, and like Cake Wars. And I remember I was, I think, 9 when I decided that I wanted to do an Easter cake for like my whole family coming over. And so I made this Easter basket cake, and think that was like the first cake that I made where I was like, I want to do this. Like, I found so much joy in doing this for my family. And I think that was the moment when I realized like this is something that I really enjoy doing, and it brought joy to all the people around me too. And like seeing that was really, really amazing.
Let's describe this to kids, because a lot of kids are like, well, what does your joy feel like? How do you know that it's actually something that you're passionate about, that is joyful to you?
Well, I feel like when I'm baking in my kitchen, it's a place where I just am happy. I put on music and I just let myself be happy. And it really feels just so amazing, like, doing it, like, the whole process, even the parts that maybe aren't the most fun, they still bring me joy because I know that at the end, people are gonna get to enjoy all the things that I made.
Yeah. So when you see other people, like, smile after you've made a cake, it just kind of makes your heart smile too?
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. So, not only did you feel this passion and excitement and joy for baking, but then you put it into action by practicing and becoming good at it. And how did you decide to start a business from it?
Well, when you're younger, you always, wanna, start, dog walking, that's what I remember, one of my friends, they started walking people's dogs, and I was like, "I wanna do that," but I didn't wanna walk dogs, so I let bake because that was something that I'd found joy in, I was like, "I could do that for other people, and it would help spread the joy that I have baking to other people," and yeah, kinda just from there, it's become what it is now.
Yeah, and it kinda took off like wildfire too, where everybody talks about you in the neighborhood. We have a big subdivision and everybody loves your cakes, and if anybody is looking for a cake or cupcakes, everybody's like, "Maddie Westcombe, that's where we have to go."
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how fast it took off.
Yeah. Is that the power of what happens when you're doing something you love?
I think so. I think people notice when it brings you joy, and I think that brings other people just as much joy.
Yeah. And I know that you're a person of a lot of faith too. Do you feel like God planted this seed within you of this love of baking?
I think so. I think that the amount of joy that it brings me, that it's something that God called me to do. And I know that it's helping other people, it's helping me, and I think that's just what he's called me to do.
When you were starting your business, did you feel any fear in kind of putting yourself out there?
I did, yeah. The first way that I, promoted my business, so say, we made flyers, me and my mom, and I remember I was really nervous to go put them in people's mailboxes because I was like, "What if they don't want anything from me?" And I remember that, fear of, would people think this is a good idea? Would people want that from me?
How did you work through that fear?
I think it was, the joy that I felt,
Yeah,
I that it was going to bring me so much joy if I just put myself out there, and I didn't want to regret not doing it.
yeah. Did it feel like something you just had to do?
Yeah, I think it did. I just somehow knew that that was what I wanted to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're listening to your heart, that divine wisdom.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. What would you tell other kids who maybe wanna follow their joy and their passion too?
I would say that if you know that it's your joy and your passion, that you just, shouldn't let, that fear of, what other people think, stop you from doing what you love. Once you know what you love, just go for it.
Now, talk to us too, because they say in life, whatever you do and you keep practicing at it, you get better and better. Do you feel like maybe you had so much joy at the beginning, but were you good at it at the beginning, or did you have to keep practicing to keep getting better?
Yeah, I did have to keep practicing a lot. Even now, I still learn new things that help make me better. And I didn't just become great. It was something that took a lot of watching YouTube videos, watching the people on the shows, and learning to follow the recipes step by step. And it just takes time to become good at something. And we just need to be patient with ourselves, learning a new skill.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you read up on like different magazines, baking magazines too, and finding new recipes and kind of always finding new stuff?
Yeah, yeah, I try to, look for inspiration everywhere I go, if I see, online, when I see, pictures of cakes I'll be like, "Oh, I really like this," maybe I can use a technique that they used here in another cake that I have, or when I see, like, the baking shows, like, remembering that for when I need it later.
Yeah. One of the things that I've been thinking about a lot is that I believe that God allows like us to be inspired by certain things because those things align with us and resonate with us, and they're for us to be able to emulate or create within this world. And so it's really fun to follow what inspires you, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for my daughter's birthday, instead of getting her something, we like to do experiences. And I wanted to share this with all the families out there that for my daughter E's birthday this year, we had her do a cake baking experience with Maddy. And it was so fun because the very first night you guys baked the cake, and I was so glad that you did this way because E gets really, really excited to put the frosting on right away, but you can't do that because it kind of melts it and it doesn't stay as well. So you told her you gotta bake the cake the first day, and then the second day you do the icing and the frosting. And how does that work?
So, yeah, you have to be patient and wait for your cakes to cool after they come out of the oven. Otherwise, like, the butter and the frosting is just gonna melt, and it's gonna be a lot harder to do. So you just have to have patience and wait a few hours or until the next day for your cake to cool before you frost it. And then it's gonna be a lot easier for you to do.
That's awesome. So I also heard this one tip. Maybe you can validate if this is right or not. But I'm very, very ADHD, and so when I cook, I'm like, we'll just kind of do a little bit of salt here and a little bit of pepper here and a little bit of spices, and I don't really measure things. But a friend told me it's not that way with baking. Baking is very different from cooking, where you have to be very precise. If it says a cup, you have to do a cup exactly. If it says a half a cup exactly. Is that true?
It is, yeah. There's a lot of science in baking, like how the different like ingredients have different chemicals and different like things in them that react certain ways when mixed together. And if you're not following the recipe correctly, it could like make your whatever you're making not turn out right because of like the different chemicals in there not reacting the way they need to.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. Well, if anybody listening lives in the western suburbs of Illinois, you're looking for a cake, a wedding cake, a birthday cake, definitely check out Maddie's Instagram page. We have that in the show notes below. And also just follow her to see all of the cool cakes that she's baking. Maddie, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for following your passion and joy in life and spending some time with us here.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And we'll put Maddie's website. What's your website name?
I actually don't have my website yet. We're working on that right now.
That's okay. When you have it, let us know and we'll update the show notes with that as well. But for now, people can find you through Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Want more episodes? Check out our parent podcast, Angels and Awakening. Beautiful souls, if you're super excited to develop your own intuition, go to theangelmedium.com and become an angel member today. Angel membership is for the whole family. Parents get access to hundreds of hours of past course content, new intuitive development circles, events, small groups, and more. And now kids get access to spiritual workshops, pre-recorded energy healings, and live events just for them. Start today at theangelmedium.com. And if you're the family who's really excited, you're ready to go all in developing all of your unique spiritual gifts, kids ages 14 and up can now enroll in my Angel Reiki School with a parent. That's for the healers among us who feel called to grow their intuition to the max and serve humanity with their gifts. You'll learn Reiki energy healing, mediumship, how to deliver angel messages, and how to start your own family business. That's the Angel Reiki School at theangelmedium.com. Details are in the show notes. Now, do you want to do an exercise with me? Imagine God is pouring unconditional love through the top of your head. This unconditional love fills your body with yummy, shimmering energy from head to toe. So much so that God's love begins to radiate out from your entire body, from your heart, like rays of energy radiating out from the sun. Imagine God's infinite, unconditional love flows from your heart to everyone you love, to everyone in your school, to everyone listening to this podcast, and back to you. Your angels remind you they're always looking out for you, guiding you, directing you, protecting you. Talk to God and your angels all day long and listen to your heart for the positive, loving messages they have just for you.